Hello everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. Today's recipe is for pretzel chocolate caramel bark. These are so good that you'll keep wanting to eat more. They're a little bit addictive, just saying. So let me show you how they're made. Do you have leftover pretzels and don't know what to do with them? Stay tuned and we'll make something really delicious out of these. First, we have to grease the pan to make sure they're not going to stick. So I'm going to use some pretzels I have left over from Christmas. Place a single layer of pretzels across a cookie sheet that's been greased. Pretzels are really nice to use for this because I like it that they have salt on them and they add a lot of extra flavor. A good way to use up some pretzels if you have some left over, but you can also use soda crackers if you wanted to. Okay, start by placing 1 cup of butter in a medium-sized saucepan. Turn the heat on high and start to melt that butter. Then add 1 cup of lightly packed brown sugar. In this case, it's more like yellow sugar or light brown sugar. Continue melting it over high heat. Bring the mixture up to a rolling boil and let it boil just for about maybe 15 seconds. This just allows the brown sugar and the butter to melt together a little bit. Timing is everything, so quickly remove it from the stove and pour it over top of the pretzels like this. And don't be too worried if it doesn't get out to the edges, because we're going to be placing it in the oven, and the heat from the oven will cause it to bubble and it'll move over to the sides automatically. Okay, so carefully take it and place it on the medium rack in a 400-degree oven. And once it starts to bubble all over the pan, then time it for about another 15 seconds. And then be careful when removing it from the oven. It needs to be removed rather quickly but steady because it is a little bit runny and you gotta watch that you don't burn yourself. Keep a close eye on it. When I checked it earlier, it hadn't even started to bubble, but when it does, it happens quickly. So it bubbles all over the pan, not just in one little spot. I placed the pan on a cutting board and I'm going to sprinkle chocolate chips over the top. And you can use as many as you wish, but don't overdo the chocolate chips because you want to be able to taste the caramel. So I probably used about 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. And I just used a fork to move the pretzels that have been displaced because the mixture is very hot and you can't really touch it. And you can use a spoon to move some of the caramel around if you want to as well. And then I've finished placing the chocolate chips over the top. You want to do that fairly quickly while it's still hot so that they will melt. And once the chocolate chips start to melt, you can use a spatula or a knife and spread the chocolate over the top. And you just need a nice thin layer of chocolate. And if you want, it's optional, but you could put some sprinkles over the top. Just adds a little bit of color and a little bit more crunch. Now just take and chill this for a few hours until it's nice and firm. It's hard to find enough room in the fridge for cookie sheets, so I put mine out in the garage on top of my freezer. And because it's winter, that's plenty cold and it sets quite nicely. Now this is set, but it could be set a little bit better than this before digging into it. But for the purpose of the video, I went ahead and started breaking it up a little on the early side. So you can see that it's still a little bit soft. But that's okay too, then it's still chewy. But to make sure it's set until it's nice and hard, then you would leave it longer in the fridge or in the cold spot that you put it in. So you just take it and break it into pieces and go ahead and enjoy. Now these won't last long enough to have very many leftovers, but if you do, store it in the fridge. It just keeps better. So these are a good way to use up any leftover pretzels that you might have around, or it's worth getting pretzels just to do this recipe. These are so tasty and delightful and good for any kind of occasion. You can do it just to have a snack around the house. You can use it for any kind of event that you're celebrating. Or if you're like me, you don't even need an excuse. Check these out. You know you want some. The ingredients are simple. So good. Thank you so much for watching this video and for giving it a thumbs up and for all your comments in the comments section. I appreciate all the support that you've given this channel. And I hope you go ahead and make some and enjoy. And until next time, happy eating.